Dark, Prince, Solar, Cure. Round of 20, Group E.
2022 Hot 6 GSL Season 3.
The beginning of this song, it's like a probe about to have a heart attack. Like his little probe heart's beating faster and faster. Welcome back, everybody. Sorry, COVID greetings over here. Excuse me, I'm coughing in the mic. We're going to go to Solar and Cure next. We did have actually a delightfully close back and forth here with Dark and Prince. Prince is in the losers match, but I think he's shown that he is viable here in Group E, and he is a threat to whoever loses between these two.
It was a great series, and man, I gotta say, I just realized that we're casting Group E, and when we did the intro to the show earlier, I said Group F, and it's like, man, I can't even, I don't even know the alphabet.
Listen,
like,
you're here.
What's the fifth
it's
letter
your
of the
StarCraft
alphabet,
knowledge,
dude?
not your alphabet knowledge that we need.
But yeah, Solar and Cure, this is gonna be a hotly contested match. I was looking at these guys on a Lick-a-Lack, and they've played, like I said, close to 400 games, and the map win rate difference between them is 6 games.
Yeah.
It's 390 versus 396 or something insane like that. So these are two guys that have played together for eons, it feels like. And I can't wait to get into it because TVZ, when you get two top players, it can be a slugfest.
100%, man. Yeah, this should be a long, close series here. These guys are dead even. They have been in... They're two of the players that have been in the most GSLs.
Oh, for sure.
These guys have played each other so often. So yeah, I mean, I have no idea who's going to take it. I think if you think you know who takes it, you're crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're going to be hopping into this best of 3 momentarily. It's going to be inside and out to start this off. Data C for map 2. Moon Dance if we get a map 3. And you know what? I think it's very likely that we do get that.
I think so too. Odds of this one going to a map 3 are really high, I think, for these guys.
And again, probably going to be the longest series of Group E here as TVZ. It's pretty grindy, pretty late gamey. Anyways, guys, our game's loaded up. Let's see what happens.
Onside Gaming.
What was this evil laugh?
SCV, dude. SCV's out on the map.
I was looking at the Zerg.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's actually so funny.
Triggering states evil giggles.
I love it.
Yes.
Dragon Phoenix Gaming. Cure.
Okay. Was it 2 SCVs or was it 3? Okay, it's going to be the
Two.
2 SCV double racks rush. We have seen games where there's 3. We casted one, I think, earlier this season where there was 4. But that didn't pan out so well.
This is just so funny to me because I was on the train over. I was watching these guys on my phone, play TVs against each other because they played so many times, right? I want to see if there's mind games going on.
Yeah.
And the first game that I watched was also Cure 2-Xing Solar.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, these guys have played so much too. It's occasionally they just, he's like, well, this one has worked well before. Now the Overlord's going to find it, which is the most important thing that Solar can do is confirm that this is happening to him. So it doesn't mean that Cure's Rush isn't going to work, but, knowing really is half the battle. G.I. Joe was right.
I think it's not going to be too all-in either for Cure. This is the kind of push that you're expecting to get a lot of damage done. You're hoping to kill a lot of drones, force out lings, and get favorable trades, but Cure already with a gas going down back at home. He's going to be following up with a factory, and drones are being pulled right now for Solar as he's trying to get an idea of exactly what the situation is. Yep, that's a lot more drones coming down. And for Cure, the name of the game right now is just get as much economic damage done as possible. Doesn't want to lose any SCVs. Actually, one going down there is pretty big because otherwise he would have been able to repair those ones back at the barracks.
Exactly. They can't repair each other now. So he is going to throw the bunker. This bunker probably not going to finish, but the idea is that he wants to fish out the drones, draw them in, try to take some shots. But look at this. Solar is not reacting right now.
Solar's playing this really smart. He has a pretty good idea of
okay, here we
what
go.
The situation is. And now he's getting ready to dive on it. That one SCV will be taken down. Solar is actually going really far out over here to the third base. Look at that surround.
He almost
got it.
Oh, these Marines are so slippery.
2 more drones going down, and Solar, pretty nice defense there.
Okay, he just shuts us down, no problem. Worker count 15 to 18. Terran infrastructure stuck in the middle of the map. I would say this is a pretty proper lead right now for Cure. By the way, I do like Cure's barracks placement. He can have the Marines pop out on the other side, and there's like nothing the Lings can do. So, but that being said, I don't think there's any real opportunities to like stay back and make more Marines and try again later. So I don't know what that will serve him here.
They're already flying back home, but that's not as many drone kills as you would have liked to get there as a Cure. I think it was 4 or 5 at the end of the day, which is not bad. I mean, it's not a complete failure, but you really want to get, you know, like at least like 6 or 7, I think, because Solar, knowing that those 2 barracks now are flying back home and there's probably a factory follow-up, he has a large window where he can just produce exclusively drones and know that he's going to be safe.
So, I do want to point out we have plenty of games where Terran still wins from here. So, I mean, this is
certainly
not
possible.
You know, there are some early game attacks. I think a really good example of this is the game we just casted in the last series. Like, there's some attacks where you try to come in and end it, and if it doesn't work, basically, you're kind of stuck in this thing where you either leave the game or you try to do the same thing because trying to reorient your build and everything and anything else is too hard. You would think that this build for Terran would be one of those, but the fact that barracks can fly so fast and get home so easily, and the Terran can still expand means that this game's going to go on. But I do think Solar is in a slightly more comfortable spot.
Yeah. Really the only aggressive opportunity here for Cure right now is getting spotted here at the 6 o'clock. This Overlord scouting that medevac probably figures that it's going to be Hellion follow-up, and as long as he's on point with his defense, that worker count differential is just going to continue to get wider now, 33 versus 26, as Cure's second command center is finally online. Hellion's dropped over by the 3rd base of Solar now. We'll be able to catch a couple of drones. Solar a little bit tricked there with a medevac going into the main, but not too much damage being found.
So, I mean, he's not going to get a whole lot done. At best, he'll be able to kill off some of these creep tumors. And right now, what I'm really looking for is, are we going to have a 3rd CC or not? I think it was Innovation I saw do this, but I can't remember. Or maybe it was Morrow, but, you know, I saw a barracks rush that failed into, like, super hardcore macro.
I think this is going to be a timing.
You're right.
3rd barracks coming down, engineering bay.
Yeah, I think that that's the more common route, is you basically see if you've done, okay, he did kill some drones early on, he did slow him down. Now you want to try to come in here like it's a 1-2 punch and get him that way here. And so really, from the Zerg's perspective, we just want to see them survive the attack that's going to be inbound here in the next couple of minutes.
The timings are looking really good for Solar as well. His worker count's already at a healthy number. He's getting the Baneling Nest. He's getting his lair. So ideally, when this push comes out, he will have Baneling speed, which helps a lot. And on top of this, those Hellions haven't really been able to stunt too much of the growth for the creep. And now that Solar's queen count is kind of ballooning, look to see that spread across the map ever more quickly. 4 Hellions now dropping in the main. Might be able to find some damage. Kurt desperately needs to get a little bit, I think, to make this push work. And 2 more barracks being added. So yeah, definitely going to be that 2cc push.
Yeah, and it's going to be all about, you know, if the Zerg could basically soak the damage up correctly and fight back. Because when you do a 2-base power push like this, and not like the 3rd CC that I was talking about, if the Zerg can win and defeat the push, then the Zerg can probably also deny the 3rd base.
Look at this timing that Cure is coming out as well. Baneling speed just now started, so there will be a window where he can engage before Baneling speed is done. 5 Banes now morphing. And I like Cure really kind of taking the tempo to push out this early. Combat shields and +1 weapons is only halfway done, so he's really, you know, recognizing the situation and figuring that he has to make this push happen sooner rather than later.
Dude, I love the position of the tanks. Look at that tank. You're never going to get in there.
That's fantastic, especially with slow Banes.
Ooh, man. And again, the tank is in range of the hatchery, and so he can keep kiting.
Oh, wow,
he can keep doing damage here.
It's hitting the larva as soon as units pop, too. It's a huge amount of damage.
Dude.
Plus these Hellions.
Oh, okay.
All right.
All right, he's gonna come in now. Oh, the Lynx are behind as well.
Lings from behind coming in, getting big damage in. These slow Banes actually getting good connections. Combat Shield's only just now finishing. It was not ready in time for that fight.
The Spore's not close enough. I thought he was at least going to shoot down that orange medevac, but he's not.
Still 29 Lings on the field right now for Solar. He's going to come up here to the main and shut this down, I think, and Cure. Really in a bit of trouble right now, I gotta say. That was fantastic positioning with the siege tanks, but Solar just riding the momentum from a nice start to the game and getting a fantastic surround. Now, the follow-up push is coming for Cure, and we've seen this before where the first push, they trade kind of evenly and it looks favorable for Zerg, but then the follow-up comes, and once Terran has all of their upgrades, their combat shields, their +1 weapons, and the creep spread is less prevalent on the side of the map, we've seen some players die to this.
Yeah. You're totally right. And I like even that other tank placement further away. Okay, so Lings are actually, if you look at the mini-map, they're going to wrap around, but it's going to be maybe like 5 seconds before they can get there. This hatchery is extremely low. I don't see any Banes. Oh, no, there's a Bane just above.
There's a couple.
That shot. Okay, hold up. He's got the Lings behind now. Again, we want to watch the mini-map too here when we're following this. The hatch is not dead, so the push has not succeeded yet. It's close.
Very close. +1 Carapace now done for Solar. That's going to be,
here we go,
the timing that he looks for as he comes in once again with a linked flank. Queen's focusing down the Marines there at the top. Some nice connections, but is it going to be enough? It's so close, Tasteless.
Oh,
the Terran just barely has enough, and now look at the army supply ballooning here for Cure. It looks like he took these trades just favorably enough.
Yeah, Queens are so bad off creep, it's crazy. He's gonna rotate the tank in. He's gonna try to get the hatch again.
Oh my God, this position is so fantastic here for Cure. Those rocks are helping him so much.
Makes you realize, guys, if you play on this map against Terra, destroy those rocks, okay?
Absolutely,
Get rid of those rocks, man.
That hatch is finally gonna fall down, and I mean, it's felt like that Solar's defense has been, not the worst so far, but Cure just continuing to power here on 2 command centers. There's no third base in sight. He is all in with his push, and now 80 army supply to the 50 of Solar. And look, once again, another fantastic tank spot here, sieging the main base.
For some reason, this didn't occur to me that he could do this and go into the main, but this is actually a great way to close it out. He's not taking a third base, by the way.
No, he's fully committed.
If he gets into the main here, he's going to kill so much of the infrastructure. Oh, and another drop's going to come out the other way.
He's going to go for the new third base.
I think Cure's close to winning this.
I think so too. Lings and Banes coming around on the bottom side. Now there's not too many units there, but fantastic position there on the minerals. So much splash damage coming out of the Lings and Banes.
Oh my God.
That was huge value there for Cure. 127 play at 80.
2 tanks live. Okay, I think we're gonna see Solar have to tap out
here.
Cure is a killer today. GG Cure taking game 1.
What a great push.
Dude, that spot behind the rocks is disgusting, man.
It was deadly. Absolutely
that was
deadly.
Filthy.
Solar, he cleaned up the first push, and I mean, we've seen it before where Zergs, they're able to clean it up, and the follow-up push continues to be deadly, but it felt like Solar, the way he cleaned it, it felt like it was gonna be enough, but then Cure just continues to abuse that section of the map, just playing it to perfection. And he comes in with a killing blow on 2 bases. Just great play out of Cure, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, that was
cool and calculated. That was so clean.
That was crazy. I'll tell you something, man. I really thought Solar was probably going to hold this off, but when we saw the attack fail, there was still 1 tank there. It really, we talked about the tank behind the rocks. There was that other placement for the tank that was like so far away that it was too hard to get in there. And again, I love the closer to push up into the main. Don't try to get your hands too dirty by trying to push into the second or the third even. Push up there, had a great trade, and then a perfect drop at the third. 2 base all in, working out. We're going to go to data C, though, for map 2. Which, again, is apparently not loading up for some reason. We are missing Solar in the game. Yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be Solar's map pick, and we're kind of figuring out these maps along with all the viewers back at home.
Yeah.
Here in the round 20 as we have a new map pull in. Data C, it's one of those bases that, I think we're finally getting that game
we're ready.
We'll go into that in just a second.
Whatever the delay for Solar, looks like it's been sorted out. Guys, we're going to go into game 2. Right now, Cure with a 1-0 lead. Remember, the winner goes on to fight Dark in the winner's match to move on to the round of 10 here. In the last group, Group E of the round of 20. Let's go.
I can do this all day.
Lyrics, man.
We are doing all day.
For me with StarCraft, I'm like, I can do this for about 5 hours. And then I get really tired and I lose all of my
Onside gaming.
games.
Solar.
No SCV on the map, by the way.
No, not this time.
No double racks this time. I wouldn't expect him to, but
Dragon Phoenix Gaming. Cure.
We're going to be seeing the other cheese tasteless. Kira's going for a CC first.
okay. I was thinking about this in the last cast, and I like didn't end up bringing it up. So, if you guys watch, was that literally the cast we did a week ago? I think it was, or maybe it was the cast from 10 days ago. So we had this day where everybody was going command center first.
We had 4 games in a row.
And this was a trend in StarCraft 1 like last year, where like people just started going CC first, and like the other player would kind of play like very middle of the road, and then he'd scout and be like, oh my god, he's already got a base, I'm so behind. And me and Artosis were talking about in the ASL cast, we're like, I don't know why we don't see this more in GSL, because it seems like the same idea would work. And then it started happening in this season. And so
We spoke into his existence.
that's right. I Beetlejuiced the meta into existence. I just had to talk about it. From France,
Wow.
welcome. It's a long, long trip. Welcome. So, I lost my train of thought. Oh, right, the CC first build.
Uh-huh.
Now, we talked about, and I think this is when you and me were casting earlier, we thought like, oh, pull first counters this, but it turns out it
didn't.
doesn't. It seems like
No.
pull first is actually to counter more like the proxy, but it doesn't seem to be able to do anything. And we're probably going to see this trend persist until the Zergs really do something about it. But that's going to be a real shuffle in the opening meta of the matchup.
It could be something that we see in the round of 10, considering how
Yeah.
prevalent the CC first play has been in the first stage of GSL Code S, because I don't want to say this exactly because I might be wrong, but I think it was 4 games in a row that almost looked identical. Like there were a little bit of different twists in terms of, you know, what the mid-game harassment was for the Terran player. But it felt like every single time it was, exactly, CC first into like a 5 barracks push with siege tanks off of 2 bases, and every time it killed a Zerg. And I think it was even Raynor tweeting that, like, yeah, the win rate for this build in tournament play has to be so high for Terran, CC first into 2 base push, because it's just absolutely deadly. And especially in this current map pool, like as we saw in the previous game, there are so many maps and so many positions where it feels like it's really tough for Zerg to break fortified siege tank. How should I say? You know, just positions by like the 3rd or the 4th base for Zerg.
Yeah.
And we're seeing Terran players take trades that are almost more cost-effective than many other map pools that we've seen in StarCraft 2. You know, it's like kind of the same unit sets. It's just doing better because they have a little bit more favorable terrain to work with. And actually, we're going to be seeing Marauders. Marauders in Custom Shell. Huh.
Dude, good catch.
It's not what I was expecting. I was expecting maybe another siege tank push, but
Yeah, no, I thought the same thing.
Oh.
Before this strategy really kicks in, I want to also just mention something kind of big picture. If we could just zoom out on this matchup overall, let's not forget that, you know, this year and last year, this became the by far longest matchup in the game because Zergs would just not really. Terrans would basically refuse to really engage with the Zergs, and the Zergs struggled this for a while. I think Mara was probably the best with this. But now we're seeing this new development in the meta, which is basically to, like, take a stake to the heart of the Zerg right in the middle of the game. And builds like this that Kira's doing, they play into that. Now, in this case, we have Marauders being made with a concussive, which is, that's news to me. Is this Overlord going to see this?
I don't think so. Next volley should get it. Does not see the tech lab.
Okay, that's big.
Armory going down now, and yeah, Cure loves these Marauder pushes, by the way.
Yeah.
I saw him do this against Dark recently, and always the same too, always with that Viking to deny the scouting. And so if Solar's done his homework, and I mean, he might not even frankly need to do his homework against this guy, considering how often they play against each other, he might kind of catch wind of this there, spotting that Viking. He might have an idea that this is coming, but as it is right now, 45 drones, 8 more in production.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried for Solar here.
This could be dangerous.
And keep in mind, I think Solar probably has the same expectations that you had about the Marine tank push.
That's a good point.
And so this is going to come in, and this is just like, it's a different way of attacking. And he's probably going to get tripped up here as this hits him because he's literally not going to know what's
6 more
happening
drones.
until this unloads.
6 more drones in production. Now he does have 8 queens,
Yeah.
which is a very healthy queen count, but 8 Hellbats, Marines and Marauders here, and a Liberator on the way as well. This is going to be a tough push to stop Tasteless.
Yeah, dude, he's coming in now. Keep in mind, he could actually juggle the Hellbats here that are damaged, or not, I guess. Sorry, guys.
I think he didn't want to have that medevac get taken
the
out.
medevac is so low.
6 HP on that medevac.
No.
Queen's going to lurch forward and finally take it out. And you know, for a second we were thinking that maybe Solar was in trouble, but those queens just completely mopped this up.
Yeah,
That was
anticlimactic.
It was. I mean, if that high drone count and
That engagement.
if that doesn't, if you don't shut this down as Terran, like in what world do you usually kill this? But I guess, I mean, historically, you gotta say that like Marauder pushes, they generally don't get a lot done.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I have had the same experience where I see them doing this and I'm like, oh, this is going to be so good, and we don't normally see this, and it's so smart.
always falls.
And then it dies. We're like, oh, you should just only make Marines and tanks.
I thought he was gonna get more damage done than that. I really did.
Me too, me too.
As it is, instead, Kira's going to be going up to 3 bases. Getting double upgrades now, as Solar is doing the same double evolution chamber going on, and Kira going to try and find some value out of these units and delay that 4th base here for Solar, but we'll see if he's able to get more out of these, because frankly, those Marauders did not do their job there at the 3rd base of Solar.
Okay, so he's going to attack in here again.
Stim pack is done now, I think, right?
Yeah, this could look a little bit different if it's Marines with stem here.
Yeah, with these Hellbats, might be able to find some damage. We'll see now. That is a lot of queens.
He's going to run back down here, scan and try to clean this up. Kind of a funny game here. Again, I do think this army a little bit more viable. I don't think he can pick all of this up with 2 medevacs, so he wants to be careful because the Banes are happy to trade out with whatever to keep this under control. By the way, I think overall, I think Cure actually transitioned really well here.
That's a good point.
He's actually fine. I think I underestimated, you know, how easy it was to just switch out of this, even though it's funny. It's like he had all of his building blocks set up, right? And then we get to see the thing work, and then Queens just kill it. It's like, oh.
6 queens and like 12 lings
this
or
wouldn't
something.
be a GSL if something with Hellbats didn't work, but
True. Yeah, I'm liking this transition here for Cure, especially the Marine follow-up, because it adds a lot more punch and retaining a lot of the Hellbats as well. Eventually, he will be trading those out, ideally for Banelings if he gets an opportunity. But it's a little difficult for Solar to engage into a lot of these armies. I mean, these Marines right here are the Widow Mines, just kind of keeping Solar in check over there at 6 o'clock. Meanwhile, Cure clearing up the creep in the middle of the map.
I just want to say, did he not make any tanks? I wasn't actually looking for that.
No tanks, just
So
Widow
it's
Mines,
just
I
Widow
think.
Mines. Well, let's
If
see
I'm
how
not
this works
mistaken,
out.
yeah.
No, I think you're right. I just wanted to try to double check here.
And Solar behind this as well, going into Hydralisk, so
Yeah.
feeling a little bit comfortable. Usually, Zergs will often go, at least European Zergs will often go for tech like Hydralisks or Mutas if they're feeling kind of comfortable. You know, they don't need to go like pure Ling Baneling and just survive. They can actually afford to go into a unit that's going to be a little bit more less powerful, but add a lot of value in terms of, you know, sniping out medevacs and catching drops. And we'll see now as Cure is gearing up to take a 4th base. Infestation Pit on the way now for Solar. That was a big hit.
Yeah, that was pretty sick. Oh my god. Dude, if that hatch had started and he just blew it up, I'm like, wow, you just won the lottery. That's like the best value ever.
I'm liking this play out of Cure though. Very fast-paced, you know. Skipping the siege tanks allows him to be a lot more mobile on the map like this with the Widow Mines.
Yeah, it's a very different way to approach this. By the way, perfect targeting here for Cure.
Wow, yeah.
And he knew exactly like how long to basically stay there and take that fight.
Cure's playing this really well.
It's interesting. I do think that it's possible for Cure to actually have these 2 armies merge and just maybe even win the game. But instead, he's going to go for more of like this harass kind of technique. And you know, it was working until I started that first sentence.
I think it's still working because he's keeping the Baneling count under control. When you're playing without a lot of splash damage, for example, if you don't have a lot of siege tanks, oftentimes we'll see Terran players fall apart when they get on the defensive and the Zerg has like 40 Banelings or something and you're just like drive in with everything and just completely clear up the bio. But
Right.
the fact that he has all of these skirmishes, and actually he is
Dude,
now adding
tanks
siege
are
tanks
back.
2 at a time.
Okay, so
This is a really deadly push because the Baneling count is not that high. You see only 8 Banelings out for Solar right now.
dude,
That's not a lot of splash damage.
this is a crazy shift here, and this base is going to be denied 100%.
And we've seen Zerg players really struggle with defending Terran pushes at this little spot right here. You see the top of the map where the minerals and the terrain that it's hard to pass in. Solar now coming in, trading out a couple of his units, but man, the reinforcements for Cure producing 2 siege tanks at a time.
Yeah, this is, excuse me, this is a pretty scary push. It looks like that hatchery did manage to get up. I was so confident that it would not last.
Well,
But
Solar has to defend this position,
Yeah.
I think, because if the siege tanks get up behind that mineral line and start pushing into the next base in for Solar, it's just devastating how much damage they can do.
yeah, I agree.
Viper's now in production for Solar. He desperately needs that additional tech to deal with this push.
Oh, the Banelings were just pulled in there. They were shot down. Another batch just finishes. But, I mean, this is a lot of tanks. The Marine count's healthy. There's plenty of energy in the medevacs to heal. He's going to topple this base. He may even be able to keep going. Terran's actually maxed out, by the way. I almost missed that.
That Cure just slow pushing to perfection right now, and Solar feels like he has to take these pushes off creep. Finally finding some ground, but Cure's supply, he might lose his position, but his army is just massive right now. 183 supply to 164, and his economy also on 4th base is now taking a 5th. It's getting out of control. Cure is playing fantastically.
Yeah. That being said, though, you know, Cure is still in this. He's still fighting back. And, you know, we do have these games where sometimes it's 5 or even like 10 minutes of nonstop pushing. And the dust settles and the Zerg comes out ahead, you know, if he can keep this going. But I will say right now it's looking scarier and scarier. Adrenal Glands finishes, not the most helpful upgrade, but it's not nothing either.
Yeah, it's definitely a fantastic upgrade, but the Zergling count isn't too high, but it will help in attacks like this. This counter getting a lot of damage done. Solar, though, he needs some incredible usage of Vipers and Banelings to be able to defend this push, I think, because once Cure gets sieged up over here at the 12 o'clock base, it's a tough spot to break. And just see him continue to trade these out. He's losing just a little bit of bio, but he's keeping the Baneling count in check, and Solar has been struggling to get past 160 supply for it feels like the last couple of minutes. All right, Lurker is now on the field.
Yeah, I mean, oh, he should definitely run back from that. Now, even though I don't think Terran's going to break in that top position, the one that we're looking at right now, I'm much more worried about because, you know, after this base, assuming that this falls, there is literally going to be no other bases Zerg has that are particularly useful in a long game, except for this one that's hidden in the top left. And I don't think we can fairly count that in as an actual asset for the Zerg right now.
Now it's going to run out of minerals very soon. The one at the 12 o'clock, excuse me. And yeah, there's no way drones are getting to that corner base.
Yeah. This one at the top left, no way. The Zerg does have better tech, but the Terran has basically succeeded in crunching and pressuring Solar. So, I mean, right now, Solar needs to produce more units and then figure out, like, okay, how do I further, how do I get more control of the map? I mean, Terran is very comfortably continuing to close in. Lurkers, by the way, they're hard to fight, but if you have siege tanks, you just siege out of their range, and you're it's kind of like the Banelings, right? You can kind of pull them towards you, and then if you take that fight correctly, you're good.
Yeah, we might see a little bit of a dance between Vipers and tanks and Lurkers as Solar doing us a treat and highlighting that right there. But it's tough now because Cure on 5 bases against effectively the 4 of Solar, because that top left base is basically not mining, and now adding ghosts as well. Cure is firing on all cylinders right now, plopping down another command center, gearing up to take a 6th base, and while Solar is hard to kill with Vipers and Lurkers, or Viper, excuse me, only one, he's really starving for res, and you can see that right now. He is effectively no bank. He still hasn't reached a max supply in this game, I believe. Only now at 180. And Cure, he's just building the perfect composition. Now, I like this play out of Solar coming over here, trying to find some counter damage, but you see the Ghost just cleaning this up.
Yeah, he actually hid these Ghosts so that I think Zerg might have gotten a little bit overconfident here.
I'm worried about those lurkers, man. Those.
Yeah, they need to get out of there.
It's a healthy number of ghosts. I think we're up to, up to 12 ghosts, actually. Even more than we saw on screen over there at third base for Cure. I don't know. I feel like this is Cure's game to lose right now. He is just getting out of control. It's almost like he's the Zerg player in this situation, you know?
Yeah, well,
Just
it's cool because
consuming
he
the map.
he pushed really far in and then he just stopped. And it was kind of it's like the sign of like a really smart player. He's like, I don't have to fight much harder for this. I've, kind of smashed all your bases. But he's going to back off. However, look, Zerg's broken free now, which puts the burden back on Terran to try to come out and do something again.
That is true. Zerg finally now taking more bases, and that top left base is now at last saturated. And Cure able to spot these out, coming in with some snipes now. No detection, so these lurkers are going down.
All of them.
Gotta say, ghost killing things is like so anticlimactic. Also, just like,
I know.
Pew, pew.
I know.
So you're all dead.
It is the wrong sound effect, right? They should have that sound from the AWP in CSGO.
Nidus Network underway for Solar. Nukes underway for Cure, so really filling out tech trees for both players right now. This Cure probably going to lift up and bring these units home. Does not want to lose those Ghost of Banelings. Actually, a really nice catch here for Solar. That's a good number of ghosts going down. That ghost count now down to 8. As Solar continuing to trade favorably here, and
I feel like this fight is
Cure
just it goes further and further into the base here.
Cure kind of buckled that a little bit, just overextending with those ghosts and kind of a funky way. I mean, I was expecting him to kind of lift up and go back home, but
yeah, well, that was his big late game asset, so he kind of messed that up. You know.
Yeah, I wonder what the ghost count is now for Cure, because Solar, to his credit, he's been playing behind in supply this entire time, behind in bases, and now finally he gets eclipsed Cure in supply, and Cure has 0 ghosts. The ghost count got completely wiped there, so that was a huge overextension, and Solar just pounced on it.
But, Solar now ahead. As far as supply goes, he's got a lot of gas banked up, so he could make a lot of Banelings. And, it's funny. This was such a different start to this game. But if you just walked in and started looking at this game, you would expect this was a completely ordinary TVZ here. It looks like there's no real way for the Zerg to break the Terran, but the Zerg's going to try anyways. And Zerg is continuing to take so much of the map, it's crazy. He's literally expanding into the sensor tower, by the way, in the about 9 o'clock spot here on the mini-map.
That one Viper for Solar, by the way, has gotten so much value over the course of this game.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, it was like the same Viper in his natural expansion.
It's the
like
hero Viper. It's the Warcraft 3 hero in the game. Oh, he needs to move these.
Yeah, both players kind of just trading blows right now. Cure taking down this top left base, denying this hatchery over here around the 4 o'clock position, and the game is really evened up after Cure had a fantastic contain there on Solar. Solar really fighting back.
Yeah, dude, it was impressive. And now we're in this epic game. If you look at the minimap, by the way, there's only 2 spots that haven't been taken, and those 2 spots will be taken eventually here. And that's going to be in the bottom right. And so this is the situation that's presented itself so many times before. The one where the Terran can't kill the Zerg off, but at the same time, the Terran is expanding slower than the Zerg, so the Zerg might end up running out of money before the Terran. And I call this, an exhaust play, basically. Zerg suddenly doesn't have any way to do any damage. And if you look at Zerg units in general, I mean, this has always been the theme of them, is that you're going to have to trade them out no matter what to get value. But if you don't trade them out and get any value at all, the Terran just outlasts you. Look out!
Almost hit our camera,
man. That's close, man.
Almost ripped the observer. Don't go there. Okay, for a second. Oh man, I didn't see the overseer for a second. I'm like, no. Watch out for the dot.
Nice snipes here.
Sniping Banelings.
Yeah, anything he can get.
Yeah, exhaust play is the perfect way of describing this too, because at the end of the day, the Terran army composition in the ultimate late game, controlled at the top level, it is cost-effective compared to the Zerg. It is the stronger composition, especially on a defensive front. And that being said, Zerg having to trade cost inefficiently, if they, as you said, do get exhausted on resources, which might be the case if we go to a split map, that is the winning condition for Terran.
Right.
Is
That's
eventually,
how Terran gets it.
Yeah, eventually just waiting until the Zerg comes out of money. And it's kind of the same idea there for the Zerg too, where you will see them kind of go up to like 80, 90 drones, go for these big Lingbane armies, maybe mix in some Vipers, some Lurkers, and they'll just continue to try and pummel the Terran and just break them and eventually contain them on 5 bases. And don't let them expand, because again, if you let Terran kind of encroach on those extra bases and just control that side of the map, you will eventually lose. So it's a really kind of tricky dance that both players are trying to do, but Kira having all that momentum in the mid game, even though things have kind of equalized, makes it very difficult for Solar. This Ghost just kind
funny.
of
You're in the wrong part of town, Ghost.
But it makes it difficult for Solar because the window where Kira was cost effective in denying mining from Solar has been so long that his bank rivals Zerg's, and that's usually not a situation that you get into in these late games. And here we go, Solar now coming in again with a Lingbane.
Okay, this is an insane amount of damage, but it does seem like it's going to be a bit of an overextension. There was a base, not this one over here, but on the kind of mirror opposite side.
Oh my God, can that tank deny mining? That's actually so funny if it can.
Wait,
I think it might be able to.
It can.
That's hilarious, actually.
That can't be. Someone get the map maker in here. That's not fair.
Load up the map contest on
This
Team
is like
Liquid
now the
.net.
best exhaust play map in the whole GSL.
It's actually nuts if that's the case, and I think it might be.
Look at that! You can hit it from there!
That's crazy. I had no idea.
No!
But all the Zerg pros
I would
watching
walk
from
out
Europe.
of here right now. Zerg players are screaming at their monitors right now.
All the Zerg players, all the professional Zerg players in Europe right now are like, yeah, guys.
Yeah.
This is what
Sorry,
we have to
guys,
deal
we had
with.
enough Zerg champions, all right? You guys had your moment. Now tanks can hit your mineral line while they're still from home.
But yeah, this is a tough spot for Solar. We see another huge attack coming in on this planetary, but again, at the end of the day, Solar has to be cost effective to make these work. He's trying to deny mining as long as he can, but look at the banks. 4,000 minerals and 2,000 gas per cure, whereas Solar is only on like, what, 3K res? This is tough. He is denying bases, but, you know, Cure eventually is going to creep his way back onto the map and take it back, and this base being mined out, or denied mining, I should say, it's kind of, it almost feels like a checkmate play where, you know, no one can really kill the other guy, but
yeah,
Cure is just being so cost effective right now that Solar feels like he's running out of options, and now even drops coming in all over the map.
Here's the other thing too, is that, okay, even if he can't use this base, he's gonna then have to at least have the base on the other side in the lower right.
And that's
okay,
so easy to
good
siege to for Terran eventually,
Yeah,
you know? You
it's that one's you just siege also from your home. You just don't hit the minerals, you hit the hatchery.
Command center getting denied here.
You know what though, honestly? I don't know, even though that's crazy that the tank can hit the minerals from there, I don't know that Terran's in a better spot anymore. It seems like the bottom right quadrant of the map, Terran has like kind of lost control over, right?
You're saying that, but at the same time, these trades have not really been cost efficient. Right now, Solar dipping to 150 supply. He's going to have to remake army here at the end of the day, and his mineral bank is down to 1,000. And you got to think that eventually Cure, when he remaxes, if he's able to take these bases, we'll have control of the game, but we'll see exactly where it goes right now as Solar cleaning up yet another drop in the top left as these guys continue to go back and forth. We're now 24 minutes into the game and the supplies are dead even. Mineral counts reset, and man, what a series between these two. We knew it was going to be a slugfest coming into this, but it is so close.
It's funny to think of how this game started and then, you know, where we're at right now. And so this is, we can kind of ignore that base that the tank could hit from earlier. It's all going to come down to them both expanding and fighting in this area. The bottom right quadrant is the most important area. Solar is spilling in. He is killed, or he will kill off the command center. He does get it right there. And but then he has to run away. Can the Terran now seesaw back over there and hit the Zerg's base?
I think he might be able to. 137 army supply.
Yeah, the thing is, there's like nowhere for Zerg to escape to, right? They like literally run up that ramp, and then it's like, all right, well, I hope he can't reach us from here. And so already, you know, the tug of war begins.
Shows how critical this position is on the map right now for Solar, because if he lets this base get up, not only is it a great defensive position there for Cure, but also it's a great attacking front to one of the few full mining bases for Solar.
He pulled 2 tanks in, but 2 more came in. Those are the stunt doubles for the tanks.
Stunt doubles.
Yeah. And, dude, am I wrong? I don't think Zerg can hold this.
I don't think so.
I don't feel like it.
The tank count is just so high, 11 tanks. There's only 2 Vipers out for Solar. I'm not sure what the energy count is for them right now, and I think Cure might actually be blocking his command center with this huge tank right now. He hasn't landed it just yet. It's been there for like 30 seconds.
Oh, I think you're right. I think there is something underneath it. He can't land it. Well, it's probably, I mean, he knows if he takes this base out,
Yeah.
it's probably the most important moment on the map here.
Oh, certainly. Oh, especially with nukes, because then you kind of got to come in on this, right? Like, what do you do with Zerg?
Dude, they need to move over more. Actually, I always overestimated the range of a nuke.
I think the lurkers might take a little bit of damage, the ones on the edge, but besides that,
These drones.
oh, no damage at all. Wow, let's have to come back to man. These
Yeah,
are some,
this has always been a problem with a nuke in the game where you're just like, all right, it's a nuke, it's gonna hit, and like
they got these technical nukes on Wish, dude. They're not cutting it. All right, Solar coming in, and kind of a last-ditch effort trying to break this position. You see his supply just plummeting, 129s with 150 right now for Cure as this base.
Oh my God, it's
Continuing to get denied.
It's like this metaphor for life is that tank on the high ground. That's brutal, man.
This is a tough spot now for
I think Solar's almost
Solar.
out.
He's running out of steam. I mean, he still has some mining there in the top left, and some of these additional bases, they do have mineral patches left, so you see his mineral count, his income isn't completely lost, but very soon those final patches will run out, and at that point, unless you can break this position, there's nothing you can do.
And this attack is not going to be enough. I mean, there's just way too much Terran here. GG, Cure wins 2-0. And so he's going to go up against Dark. I got to say, I think Cure honestly played a lot better than he even normally does, and he normally plays very well. So that's some exciting stuff, man. But again, Dark is such a good opponent to go up against. And it does seem like Cure really kind of brought out a lot of unique play here. So how many more tricks does he have up his sleeve in this matchup?
It's a good question. We're going to see in that winners match soon.
That's right.
Man, what a slugfest between these two. You know, it wasn't 2-0, but it didn't feel like it. It was a close back and forth series.
Yeah. I'll tell you, man, I can't get over that tank hitting the minerals from the main. That's so funny.
It was brutal.
Guys, another ZVT is coming up after the short break. We'll be right back.